Hello and welcome to the British Dapper, and today you join us on our continued sartorial journey, and today we're looking at introducing a shirt, shoes, trousers and a jacket. So you join me in the second video in our sartorial journey, and this shirt might be a little bit loud, but I think it demonstrates that you don't have to necessarily go straight into a formal look. And whilst this is 100% cotton, maybe we could introduce something a little bit more casual, as in you could wear a flannel shirt, looser collar. These are soft collared, so they're not so rigid and stiff like a formal dress shirt. And not a bad way of pairing with a pair of jeans and those skate shoes we were talking about using to replace those trainers. So it is a migrative piece, something we can use to migrate into a more formal look. So not a bad idea to start thinking about that more formalized long sleeved shirt versions. So today's video we're going to be looking at the introduction of the shirt, and we've got a number of shirts to show you and to talk about, with the introduction of a pair of shoes. And we start off with very casual shoes looking to the more formal dress shoe. We've also got a number of trousers, different types of pairs of trousers to consider in replacing those jeans, and also some jackets, and that could be a Harrington jacket all the way through to a much more formal jacket or blazer. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And the first thing we're going to discuss is shirts in more detail. So introducing a casual patterned shirt might be a step towards a more formal look and get you used to wearing a shirt with a collar. Now this is a soft collar, 100% cotton, and it's quite a bold pattern, but the example is it's quite comfortable to wear, no different to a flannel shirt as well, and a bit more casual in its look. But you could pair that with a pair of chinos and a pair of, in this case, brown brogues, and you get quite a nice aesthetic. And it is a step away from the jeans and t-shirts we were previously talking about. Now, the migration to this look might be just introducing one or two items at a time. So maybe while you're still wearing the jeans, wear a flannel shirt. And we could still be wearing those suede skate shoes. But we could then later on change those into something more substantial. So another type of shirt we can introduce is something along these lines. 100% cotton, brushed cotton in a herringbone pattern. Much more softer, button down collar, gives it quite a nice aesthetic. You could wear that still with those jeans, although they would need to be darker than these, or you could wear them with chinos, as we've done with this ensemble. So if we're looking at raising the level of formality just a little bit, then maybe we'll use something like this. It's a striped shirt, Bengal stripe, but it's still a button down shirt, so it can be open necked, not a problem at all, and it does create a little bit more of a higher look than those jeans and t-shirts we were talking about earlier. You may think, well, I don't really wear those sort of things normally, so maybe it's a case of choosing when you wear something like this. So it might be that you're going out for a meal with your other half, and it might be worth dressing a little bit more appropriately for a night out, and maybe it's in introducing this sort of shirt along with those existing jeans maybe, but maybe change the shoes, and you still are raising the bar a little bit more than what you have done before. and you'll get a little bit more comfortable wearing shirts like this. So here's another option to consider. With this time we're wearing something still a soft collared, not too stiff, not too rigid, and it's actually got a very small pattern on it, so it's not too loud, but it goes well with jeans and it goes well with maybe some upgraded shoes. Sort of thing that you might want to wear something like this to, or use it as a reason to wear this sort of thing, would be maybe going out for a meal with your partner, and you don't want to look too overdressed, but we want to upgrade from those jeans and t-shirts or a hoodie type look, and we want them to make them feel a little bit special as well, that you've made the effort for them. So this might be the ideal opportunity to wear something like this, or maybe take something like this if you went on holiday, and it's easier to dress differently in a different environment because we're not going to mix with our friends or our peers necessarily whilst we're in another location. So it might be that perfect opportunity to try something different. So another option is this shirt here. So we're looking at a pattern, and still very informal, and quite a vintage feel with this one, but it is a little bit more stiffer. It's actually got stays in the actual shirt to make the collar a little bit stiffer. But what I would say with this is that although it's got a stiffened collar, because it's not done up, it's not too restrictive either. So it's something to consider, even with the more formalised shirts when they are stiffened collars. If it's not done up, potentially you're going to feel quite comfortable in that. So don't be put off by the fact it's a formal shirt. So if we think that's a little bit dull, then maybe change for something like this. This is actually got some blue, red and white colours in it. Quite a formal shirt, stiffened collar with stays, so it does give it a little bit more structure in the neck, but because it's undone, gives it quite a relaxed feel about it, and it goes really well with jeans. But also importantly, if you want to upgrade the trousers that you're going to wear, or you wear chinos with a pair of upgraded shoes, then you've got a really good look, and it's another step on that sartorial journey to more formal clothing. So something else to consider is checked patterns. Now this is a grey pattern, and you can see from it, although it's a formal shirt, stiffened collar, whilst it's open necked, still relaxed, comfortable feeling to it, not too restrictive. But the thing about the colours, because they're quite muted, grey and a check, you're starting to head into a little bit more of the realm of where you could wear a tie with it if you wanted to. So, but it still goes well with jeans or chinos or some other form of dress trousers, and it goes really well with a pair of shoes as well. So it's that middle ground where you can start to dress a little bit more elegantly, moving away from those jeans and t-shirts, moving more towards a more formal casual look, but also a staple piece in anybody's wardrobe, because it does come in useful later on if you're going to start wearing it with suits as well. So something else to consider when we're wearing a shirt. Now when we buy a shirt, sometimes if we're a little bit got a bit of a paunch on us, a little bit more rotund around the middle area, then maybe the shirt might be a little bit restrictive there than we thought. So how do we hide that? How do we make ourselves still look good? Well, that could be with the introduction of a waistcoat. It also breaks up that area here, and it does create a good look around the waist area. It flattens out all those bumps and lumps. So now we come to a more formal shirt, plain shirt, This one's a cream one, but if you wanted a sharper image, then a white shirt with jeans and a pair of decent shoes really does look great. And the white shirt goes with just about any ensemble you want to pull together. It's going to go well with those jeans, it can go well with chinos, cords, it could go with dress trousers, a suit, sports jacket, always goes well. But something to consider with any shirt is that we're using open necked. One button or two undone, wouldn't go any more than that unless you've got a medallion there to wear. So stick to one or two buttons undone. The other thing is, as you get older, this area here might not be as attractive to you, and you might want to mask that a little bit. So something to consider, not that you have to, but you could consider wearing a cravat with this open neck shirt, and it gives you that, it covers this area up, gives it a little bit of a pop of colour. So what about introducing something like this with that shirt? So something else to consider there. So now we've briefly discussed shirts, then we really need to move on to the next thing, which is shoes. So when it comes to introducing shoes, now I know in the previous video we mentioned about chucker boots as a good example. I would advocate chucker boots because if they're a dress version like this, they're leather soled, they've got a nice shape, and they are really comfortable. The difference between boots and shoes tends to be, when you're talking about a chucker boot, the lacing system's a little bit higher up than the bridge of the foot. Shoes tend to be a lot more laced up on the bridge of the foot, and if they're a bad fitting pair of shoes, that's where you're going to feel that pinch. So maybe this might be your initial option, and then maybe we change that for something else. So whilst we're still talking about potentially still wearing jeans, albeit they might be a little bit upgraded, they're newer, fresher, then I would suggest if you're going to make a change, make it quite a decent step change, okay? So we've already introduced some casual shoes, some skate shoes, something along those lines, and we've already started to introduce the chucker boots, so maybe it wouldn't go far wrong if we introduce something like this. So here we have, this is a brogue, wingtip brogue, and nice shoe, goes really well with jeans and also a pair of chinos or even cords or anything like that. Really does go well in that semi-formal look. You could even wear a suit with this colour. Not necessarily the most formal of suits, to be fair, but nevertheless a good shoe for a general all-round wear. So we could upgrade it to something like this. Now this again is a brogue, that's a semi-brogue, and we've got burgundy on the toe cap, the heel and also the upper. The vamp and quarter is basically oxblood. So you get a contrast of colours there. Goes really well with jeans or something casual. I wouldn't necessarily say this would go with the most formal of looks, but it certainly is something different. Or we could change it to something like this. This is a toe-capped Oxford. It's called a Chichester because it has this weave pattern here on the vamp. But again, they go quite well with a casual look. I would say these are probably better going with a casual suit wear rather than jeans, but they go really well with chinos and cords or something along those lines, or an informal trouser. Now if we're still talking about wearing those jeans, then and we want to make a statement and we want to stand out a little bit, then maybe introduce something like this. These are a really lovely pair of shoes, very light tan, and you can see different coloured laces to add a little bit of interest, and you can see in the brogring a lot of detail there standing out, and goes really well with jeans, chinos. I would suggest maybe corduroy trousers, but I wouldn't go wearing a formal pair of trousers with this. This is much more of a casual look, but nevertheless a nice shoe to use for that informal wear, and also creates a little bit of interest and detracts from wearing jeans or chinos. Now if you're not sure about wearing something quite as formal of the shoes that we've shown you so far, then maybe you can consider something like this. Now this is a very relaxed shoe, slip-on shoe, and this classic loafer and penny loafer, as you can see here, and this one's suede, but you can get them in leather as well. So not a bad thing to wear with a pair of jeans and a relaxed shirt, and you get quite a good look. And again, we're moving away from those jeans, t-shirts and those trainers, and it gives you another option to wear that's not formal. So they're my views on a small selection of shoes that you might want to use instead of those trainers, and it's a step towards the more formal footwear later in the series. So before we move on to talk about trousers, I just want to have a quick brief mention about jumpers. Now jumpers are a great addition when it's a little bit colder, and bearing in mind if we're starting to wear shirts with collars, whether it be soft or formal, then maybe a jumper is a good addition to your wardrobe for those colder months, or when you feel a little bit in between wearing a jacket or wearing just a shirt, and it adds that extra layer of warmth, and it's more consistent with wearing a shirt with a collar than, for example, the old jeans and t-shirt look that we were talking about earlier. So just to mention, consider getting a jumper of some description, and bearing in mind the materials it's made from. I would try and steer towards more natural fibres, so wool of some description, cashmere, mohair. Those are the sort of materials we really want to look at, rather than artificial ones, for example polyester, acrylics. I would avoid them because they're not very good at long-term wear. So now we come on to the subject of trousers, and or if you want to call them pants. Now what we're talking about here is the break away from jeans. Now I'm not saying you can't wear jeans at all, because obviously there are times when you can actually wear jeans and dress it up a little bit, and it really does look quite good. Here's an example here where we've just used those brown chucker boots we were talking about and wearing those jeans, but they're not distressed jeans, and we're wearing a wool jacket with that, and it comes together quite nicely, and we're using this informal shirt with it, and it's quite a good look. Just a pocket square in it just to give it a pop of colour and a bit of life, and you've got a reasonably good outfit. Now that is something that comes with time and practice. So if we're talking about trousers, changing those jeans for something else, then the first step I would say is move across to a pair of chinos. Now if you wear dark blue or navy blue chinos, then you're looking at a slightly different variation on those jeans. They're certainly not jeans, they are a little bit more softer, a bit more comfortable. They come in a range of colours as well. So if dark navy is not your colour or your preference, maybe you choose another colour to wear with your ensembles. I would suggest though, because they come in a range of colours, you could consider something like this, where you're using something that is a fawn colour or a stone colour. That's the extreme to the navy, but also another colour in between, especially around the autumn time, is this colour here, which is a tobacco colour or an olive green. Now they go really well, and here's an example of those tobacco coloured chinos. And you'll notice we're wearing a nice pair of shoes with them, and I think it's quite a good look, and the jacket goes really well with those as well. But it's the chinos that I want you to focus in on, and the range of colours that you might be able to choose from them. Something else to consider is a traditional dress pant, in other words dress trousers, and these are charcoal colour in colour, quite a nice fabric, and they drape really well. They go really well with more to do with blazer look, and go really well with black shoes or dark shoes, and not a bad look overall. And the trousers are a step away from those jeans and going a little bit more towards the formal side. And you'll notice we're wearing a more formal shirt with this. Something else to consider is a pair of flannels. Now these are light grey flannels, and they're quite thick, which is nice in the wintry months, and these have actually got they're a pleated front, and you'll notice that they've actually got a turn up at the bottom, or a cuff. They're about a 1.5 inch cuff on there, and they're quite roomy. They've got pleats in them, so they're quite roomy, and they've also got side tabs as well, which allows you to adjust them on the side instead of using a belt. So something else to consider is corduroys. Now these are quite a chunky pair of corduroys, but I think they're great in the winter months. Maybe they're a little bit old for some demographics, certain age groups, but paired with the right outfit they can look really effective, especially with the countryside look. And we're wearing with these some mid-tanned John White shoes. Nice pair of brogues there, go really well with the colour coordination with the shoes and the trousers. Quite a nice contrast there, not too dark. But the trousers themselves, they're quite a roomy fit, and they're quite high-waisted, but you can get them in different fits, and I still think they have some place in a man's wardrobe, especially for the winter months. Could also consider some dress trousers. These are Prince of Wales with a red berry overcheck, quite a pronounced overcheck as well. So they're quite flamboyant in a way, but paired with a blazer and a pair of black shoes, they're quite a good formal look or semi-formal look, and paired with a off-white shirt or even a white shirt, they do really look good. And something you could even wear with a jumper, a casual pair of shoes or a pair of loafers, and they still are a lovely pair of trousers to wear, something along those lines. But what I would say is that if you're going to have a pair of trousers like this, depend on the colour of the overcheck. So you might find them in a ochre colour overcheck. In this case they're berry overcheck or a red overcheck. You might find them also with a blue overcheck. What I would do is pick up that overcheck colour into a pocket square or something to do with your outfit, and it all ties it together nicely. So now we come on to the subject of jackets. And when it comes to jackets, they range in formality. So for example, you could have a wool one, like we demonstrated right at the beginning of the trouser episode. So here we have, whilst we're wearing those jeans, we're wearing that wool jacket, almost a velvet material, and it goes really well with an open shirt, for example this sort of button down shirt, and picking up a colour in that pocket square, and you've still got really a good look whilst even just wearing jeans. But if we want to escalate that a little bit and change the jacket, there are a number of jackets we could use, and I've only picked a few out here to show you. But here's one that I regularly use, and that's a Harrington jacket, and it's a small informal blouson style jacket. It's used traditionally for golfers, and so it's shower proof and gives plenty of room for movement of the upper body, and it's quite a really aesthetic statement piece. And they come in a range of colours. So in this case I'm using an off-white jacket, and it goes really well with those casual looks. I think the Harrington jacket is really something that does carry over a lot of style in a casual way. So I think a Harrington jacket, or maybe a bomber jacket of some description, might be well worth including in your wardrobe over the long term. Something else to consider is a tweed jacket. Now, a tweed jacket is one of those things that can be a little bit polarizing. Some people love them, some people hate them, but I would say that if you're going to wear a pair of jeans in a casual setting, by just putting on a tweed jacket, you lift it a little bit, you elevate the look a little bit, but it's not formal, but it's got a lot more character about it as an outfit, and that conveys your character and your personality as well, or your persona of what you're trying to impress upon other people. So I think tweed jacket comes in a range of colours, but I tend to stick to quite muted colours. So for example, in this case we've got with a pair of chinos, we've got sage green or grass green colour. It's got a slight orange stripe going through it, which is picked up in the actual tobacco coloured chinos, but it's quite a good look, and I think it's not a bad look for breaking away from those jeans. So here's quite a playful jacket, quite loud I will admit, but with a pair of dark navy blue chinos and this waistcoat that goes with the jacket. Is quite a nice look and a little bit of a statement, I suppose, as well. So not everybody would want to wear this, but if you're going out for a meal or casual setting, or maybe even barbecue or something like that, or an evening round some friends, then this might be the outfit for you. So now we're going to move on a little bit in our sartorial journey, and we're looking at an introduction of a blazer. Now, most blazers you'll find are either in black or navy. Navy is a very common colour, quite a nautical vibe going with this type of blazer as well. And so it tends to have brass buttons. Maybe you'll find one with a lighter horn buttons, but generally they are brass or silver buttons. And the thing about this is it goes really well with those dress trousers we were talking about earlier, and here in this case we've got some burgundy shoes to go with that, and quite a nice light-hearted pocket square to go with it, and not a bad look overall. But the jacket itself is two-buttoned, single-breasted, notched lapel. Can't get much more simple than this, patch pocket, and really effective. So another blazer here. This time we're talking about double-breasted, and we've got a peak lapel on this as well. And I think it gives a little bit more of a formalised look, quite officious in a way, but if it's paired with the right things, it can look really good in a more casual setting as well. So in this case we're using those Prince of Wales pattern trousers with the red over check, and we've picked up the colour in the pocket square, and it goes really well with those black brogue shoes because we're elevating the look a little bit. So yeah, not a bad look at all. And just going back to that quite bright coloured jacket. Now when you're looking at that, at the moment when you look at that, there's quite a gap there, and I think maybe you'll get to a point where you see that when you look in the mirror and go, there's something missing here, it's just too bland, too open here, and you'll want to put a bit of colour there. So in this case I've worn a tie with it just to show you the difference, and maybe you can pick out that it actually does look a bit more presentable and gives it a pop of colour with that tie. And that's the next subject, because the next one we're going to move on our sartorial journey again, and we're going to start talking about introducing ties and more formal shirts, and then we're moving into the world of suits, whether that be casual all the way to the very formal. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe, then please feel free to do so. We love constructive comments, so if you'd like to make one, put it down below and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. We have a Buy Me a Coffee page, and if you'd like to make a payment, please feel free to do so. It does help the channel, and it helps with some of the costs of actually producing these videos. So until next time, take care.